Won't you sit down?
Thank you, Doctor.
You seemed rather upset when you called me. I thought it best if I saw you as soon as possible. Have you been to a psychiatrist before?
No, Doctor, never before. This problem of mine has only come about recently.
What seems to be the trouble, Mr. Worley?
Doctor, you might find this rather hard to believe.
Nonsense. I'm here to listen. Now tell me, what's bothering you?
Doctor, I'm a werewolf.
I see. And how did you first notice the, symptoms?
Harold's a brady cat! Harold's a brady cat! Harold's a brady cat!
Just about 2 weeks ago.
Now, sweetums, we mustn't let those nasty children make us cry. Mommy's here to make it better. Cry on Mommy's lap. Cry on Mommy.
And exactly how did these symptoms manifest themselves?
Oh, Doctor, it's so hard to talk about. It's all so insane. It's all so strange, so weird, so crazy.
Crazy? You must be crazy and just out of your little mind, Harold. Just because I'm polite to you does not mean I love you. And I would never go with you, Harold. Just put it out of your little mind. Now, Harold, really?
Mr. Worley, I'm a psychiatrist. I'm here to help you. However, I can't help you if you won't let me. Now just calm down and tell me about your symptoms. When did you first notice them?
Harold wets his pants! Harold wets his pants! Harold wets his pants!
Well, I first noticed them when I was at home with my wife.
Then you're married.
Yes, I'm married.
Yes, Harold, I will marry you. However, we've got a few things to settle between us before the knot is tied. Do you understand? Well, do you?
Yes, Lovey, I understand.
I beg your pardon?
I'm sorry. As I was saying, I was with my wife at home. I remember it as if it were yesterday.
I wasn't born yesterday, Harold. I'm wise enough to know that this girl isn't the one for you. Not for my Harold, she's not. You have a good life, a happy life. You're at home. Just because you're 30 years old doesn't mean you have to run off and get married. Who's going to take care of me? Did you ever think about that? Well, Harold, did you? After all I've done for you. After all I've done for you, if you leave your mommy, you know how sick I get. I'll die, Harold. If you leave your mommy, she'll just die. You wouldn't want that. Would you, Harold, for your mommy to die?
I had just come home from work and was changing my clothes in the bedroom. Lovey, that's my wife, was all excited because of a raise I got at the office.
Raise? You call $20 a month more a raise? I call it a disgrace. If you weren't such a sniveling nobody, you'd go in there and tell that fat slob off and make him give you a real raise. Raise?
I was excited about the raise, too. I had called my mother over to dinner to celebrate. Lovey was going to cook something special because Lovey and my mother are very close.
You did what? Harold, you know I can't stand to have your mother in my house. Isn't it enough that I have to put up with you? Now get in here and call her up and let her know that she is not to put her foot in this house.
Well, I was nervous, you know, and excited. I was nervous and I was perspiring.
No sweat, Harold. Really. Just walk over there and ask her to dance. Get it? Just walk over there and ask her. Honest, she'll dance with anybody. Look at him. He's actually doing it. I don't believe it. This is too much. Oh, what's the matter, Harold? Forget the lines?
Are you nervous very often, Mr. Worley?
Well, the last few months have been rather hectic. I guess I have have been more nervous than usual. Things have been piling up at the office, you know. I have a great deal of responsibility.
What's keeping you, Worley? If folding shirts is too much for you, I can probably find you something easier. So get to work, will ya, huh? Now!
Anyway, I was perspiring. All of a sudden, my hand started to hurt. Not just a little ache, but a terrible pain.
Have you ever had a pain like that before?
No. Not like that one. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever experienced. It was like a 1,000 burning needles being driven into my flesh.
Did you call a doctor?
I couldn't.
Why not?
I tried to call out to my wife, but when I did, nothing happened. All I did was I just growled. You know. Like that.
Growl, did you say?
Yes, an animal growl. Every time I would try to talk, all I could do was grunt or growl. And when I looked down at my hands, there was hair. Not normal hair, but animal hair. Growing out of my hands, pushing up out of my skin, curling and writhing and twisting up out of my pores like 1,000 ghastly worms. Before long, it began to spread all over my body and my face. It hurt so much that I wanted to scream. But all I could do was grunt and growl.
Did your wife hear you?
Oh no, sir, she didn't hear me.
Harold, will you stop that moaning? She's not coming over, and that's it. Now get in here and call her.
And then what happened?
Well, doctor, I want you to understand a few things. First of all, I love my wife. Sure, we have a few misunderstandings now and then, but on the whole, our relationship is one of harmony and mutual understanding. I also love my job. I get along with my superiors just fine and am paid well for my services. I also have a wonderful relationship with my mother and have had for as long as I can remember. However, when this change started to come over me, suddenly as it did, I began to notice a change in more than just my physical appearance. My mind, thoughts, feelings, desires, everything began to change. However, instead of hating myself for feeling the way I felt, to be quite honest with you, Doctor, I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
I see, Mr. Worley. And just how did these mental changes manifest themselves?
To be kind of frank, Mrs. Worley, Harold has a definite problem. He tries to get along with all the other kids, but they reject him. I guess it's because he's so weird.
Doctor, I have been, for most of my life, a man who has enjoyed the more sedate things in life. I have never raised my voice in anger. I have never really hated anyone. And I most assuredly have never wanted to hurt anyone. However, when this change came over me, over my body, the way I began to think about people changed also. I could hear my wife puttering around in the kitchen. I could see her there, in my mind, picking up those dishes with their fat, sweaty hands and putting them up on the shelf. I could see her all right, walking around that dirty, nasty kitchen, thinking about all she could do to make my life miserable in her own distinctly hateful way. Well, the more I thought about her, the more I wanted to crush her. I wanted to make her scream and cry the way she's made me scream and cry every day of our married life. I rejoiced at the thought of my wife looking at me with my savage fangs, my claws and sinews. I knew when she saw me like that, she would break down, and I rejoiced at the thought of it. I rejoiced at the thought of my wife as nothing before me but a sniveling mass of flesh, begging for existence. I howled at the thought of it. Aroo! I screamed my joy at the top of my lungs. Ah! I took one last look in the mirror and rejoiced in the sight of my foam-flecked lips, savage fangs, and red eyes. And then I was upon her. Oh my God. Look at me. Look at what I have become. Help me!
Certainly, Mr. Morgan. Can you tell me what happened next? If it's too painful for you at this point, you can always wait till later.
No, doctor. I must tell the truth now, no matter how painful it is. The truth is my only link with sanity. As I said before, she was in the kitchen, and May I assume that you realize that I am, in fact, an animal? Or at least, more of an animal than a man?
I think it'd be best if we approached your problem from that frame of reference, Mr. Worley. I mean, after all, a man is whatever he thinks he is. Don't you agree?
Yes, Doctor. I can see your point. If I believe myself to be an animal, a werewolf, then by all practical means, that's exactly what I am.
Precisely.
And so the answer is to cure the animal, and not the man, right?
We'll see, Mr. Worley. We'll see.
Tell me, Doctor. Could you notice it when I first walked in? I mean, the animal in me?
By all means, Mr. Worley.
You're kidding! Really? You could really see that kind of a killer in me?
After all, Mr. Worley, I am trained to see the inner man.
Well, I guess that explains it. I guess you could see right through my, how should I say it? Gentle facade. I guess you could see the dark, destructive animal lurking within me, and it could not stay hidden from your trained eyes.
How right you are.
Well, it's truly amazing. I mean, I've kept it hidden from Lovey for all these years. Even my own mother didn't know. I guess that's why the sudden confrontation with the real me left her so shattered.
Did you also have a confrontation with your mother?
Oh yes, didn't I mention that before?
No. No, you didn't. What happened?
Well, the confrontation with my mother was about the same as my wife, except I fear I might have harmed her both physically and mentally.
Did you actually harm your mother physically?
Well, no. But I fear I might have harmed her in a completely different way. I fear the type of mental anguish I inflicted on her might have driven her completely insane. My own Mumsy!
Mumsy?
Yes, Mumsy. That's what I've called her since I was a child.
And your father? You never mentioned your father.
Well, what can I say? I mean, my father's side of the family has always had a rather predatory history. I never really knew him. The memory of his savage pride, his untamed nomadic spirit, haunts me even to this day.
Then was he a soldier?
No, a tailor. But in the shop, Mumsy tells me they used to call him El Tigre.
El Tigre?
Yes, that's Spanish for the tiger.
Oh, I see. You were telling me about the confrontation with your mother.
Yes, so I was. I will tell you everything, Doctor. But remember, don't push me. There's no telling when the animal in me might break loose.
Of course, Mr. Worley. I'm sorry. Take your time.
I don't really know what made me want to drive over to my mother's that night. It was only 2 nights after that episode with my wife. One minute I was driving home to Lovey, hot roast. And the next minute I was driving down the streets like a madman, hell-bent on causing my mother mental anguish. I was at 5th and Maddox when I saw the hair beginning to sprout on my arms and hands. I had to drive like a demon because I was afraid someone might see me. By the time I hit Lenox Avenue, the transition was complete. I loved the feeling of power that raged within me. I rode like the devil. I didn't care who saw me. I rolled down the windows. It was cold, but I didn't care. That's what fur is for. I stuck my face out the window and howled. I wailed. I screamed. I roared. Oh, what a feeling to be the master, the fear, the abhorred. Before I knew it, I was there.
Where?
Where? I'll tell you where, Doctor! At the house where I spent those 30 31 years with Mumsy. Eat your chicken soup, Harold. Don't be nasty to Mumsy, Harold. Practice your flute, Harold. Don't read naughty books, Harold. If you think nasty thoughts about girls, it'll make you blind, Harold. Babies come from God, Harold. No, Harold. Yes, Harold. Kiss your Mumsy goodnight, Harold. Harold, Harold, Harold. Yes, that house. I wanted to scream. Ah! I'm home, Mumsy. I wanted to see her come pittery to the door, petticoats swirling like a flock of admirers. Why, Mumsy, don't you recognize me? It's your little Harold. Really, Mumsy? 150 pounds of hair and teeth, and it's all yours! Ah!
What did you do?
Oh, Harold, it's come to have dinner with your mom. Oh, dear, dear, it's your tummykins again. Mumsy will fix that right up. Oh, Harold, dear, I know how that tummy of yours is, and I have just the thing for it. You can't hide it from Mumsy, Harold. Something is wrong, isn't it? I know it. I know something is wrong. You don't look well at all. Is it that woman? I knew it. I knew she would make you unhappy. And you decided to come back and live with your Mumsy. Oh, Harold! Oh, how happy you made your Mumsy, Harold. How happy. How happy. You've made a wise decision, dear. I'll take good care of my little one. You'll be happy from now on.
No wonder you're so worried about her. I can imagine the kind of mental shock it was given her.
It was a nasty thing to do, all right, Doctor. But as I said before, when that feeling seizes me, no one is safe. Not Lovey, not my mother, not even you, Doctor. Not even you.
I realize that the animal hidden within your, how'd you put it before, gentle facade, is constantly yearning to break free. But you can't, sir, if we're going to have an effective patient-doctor relationship, I will need your full cooperation in order to sustain this volcanic spirit in you. I know that the antagonism that has been pent up in your subconscious for all these years are yearning, even now, to break free. But you came to me, I can help you. If I'm going to help you, I'll need your full cooperation. Without it, the animal in you might in fact become you. You understand?
Well, Doctor, you sound like the man with all the answers. You make it sound like this thing lurking around inside of me is not a part of me. Well, it is! It is a part of me! It is me! Has it ever occurred to you that I might like this better? I mean, being a werewolf, than I do a normal person? If you only knew what it was like having to walk around all these years with a veritable maelstrom churning around inside of me. Oh, if you only knew how many times I wanted to shed this frail curtain of appearance that others call Harold Worley and show them what the real me was like. Oh boy! That would set them back! I'll tell you something, Doctor, old boy. I think it's about time the curtain was opened. I think it's about time I let the real me do the talking
That's what I want to find, Mr. Worley, the real you.
Hell, that's what I'm saying. I know the real me.
Then why'd you come see me?
To see if
If what? If I could find what your wife and your mother couldn't, an animal inside you that you didn't even know you had? Well, if that's the case, sir, I guess we can call your visit a success. However, you came to me so I can help you. Now we need to find out what the cure is to be. We need to know for you if cured means to have the real you brought out permanently, or to draw it out to the point when you know what it is, and you can learn to control it.
maybe I don't want to control it. Has that ever occurred to you, doctor?
Has it ever occurred to you that if you can't control it, you might end up in a prison or an asylum?
That's if they can hold me. To be quite frank with you, doctor, I don't think that anybody can hold me.
Is there something wrong? Is it getting hot in here for you?
No, doctor, it's just I can feel something changing. My hands! It's growing out of my hands!
My God! I can see it! It's really happening!
Oh, yes it is, doctor! Yes it is! Now do you believe me? Now that it's too late!
What do you mean too late? Your face! My God, your face! No! Get away from me! In your face! I'm begging you! Richard Duncan! Let me live! Let me live! Miss Stanley, this is Dr. Maddox. Could you schedule another appointment for Mr. Worley on the 15th? Yes, that's right. Just call his wife. I'm happy to tell her to have him here at the usual time. And Miss Stanley, I'll be at the country club for the rest of the afternoon. If I get any calls, just tell them I can't be reached. I need a break. It's been a long day.